In this video tutorial, I am going to discuss about renal regulation of pH. In the earlier videos of this playlist, I talked about buffer mechanism and respiratory mechanism for the regulation of pH. It seems that both of these mechanisms nicely regulates the pH. Then why renal regulation is required? What aspects of regulation of this pH are not addressed or solved by buffer and respiratory mechanisms? If we understand this concept, then we can very easily understand renal regulation of pH. So let's first try to understand what role kidney should play in relation to acid-base balance. So first, I will talk about metabolism. In our body, there are many different metabolic processes are occurring simultaneously. All different metabolic processes, some of these metabolic processes generate acids and some of these metabolic processes generate alkalis. Right? Now acids are of two types. It can be non-volatile or it can be volatile. In our body, there is only one volatile acid is generated, that is carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, when it is generated, it is very well handled by our respiratory system. Right? So this will not create any new problem. That is already being solved by respiratory system. But the problem is with the non-volatile acid and alkalis. Now again, if these non-volatile acids and if these alkalis, if they are both produced in 1:1 ratio, then again this problem will be solved. How? Because alkalis and these non-volatile acids both will neutralize each other, right? But in reality, they are not produced into 1:1 ratio. Actually speaking, in our body, the production of this non-volatile acid, it is little bit higher than the production of alkalis. So what will happen? As alkalis are less, then all the alkalis will be neutralized by the acids. And even after neutralizing all the alkalis, some of the non-volatile acids will be left. So these leftover non-volatile acids, they are called as a net endogenous acid production. Net endogenous acid production. This is also goes by short form, that is net endogenous acid production, right? NEAP. Now, how much net endogenous acid production is there? On an average 70 kilogram male, it is estimated that approximately 80 milliequivalent per day this NEAP is generated. Actually, it is in the range of 60 to 100. Right? Now, if someone is consuming more protein in the diet, then there will be more metabolism of the protein, and it is estimated that in such protein consuming population, this net endogenous acid production is on the higher side. Now what will happen to this 80 milliequivalent per day net endogenous acid production? As this acid is produced in a various different tissue, they are firstly directly poured into the ECF. They come directly into extracellular fluid, that is ECF. And in the ECF, as I told you in my previous video, that there is bicarbonate buffer system, which is predominant one. So how this bicarbonate buffer system will neutralize this net endogenous acid production? So let's represent this NEAP by the H plus, right? So this H plus, what will happen? It will bind with this bicarbonate and it will form H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, by the action of carbonic anhydrase enzyme, it is converted to this water and carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide, again, it will be very well handled by the respiratory system or respiratory mechanism. So this is not a problem, right? So it seems that here also, in this also, buffer mechanism as well as respiratory mechanism is solving the problem of acid-base balance. But wait, if we look carefully into this, then we can see that it is not completely solved. See, why? See, how much net endogenous acid production is there? It is 80 milliequivalent per day. That means here 80 milliequivalent per day H plus is coming. That means it is binding with this bicarbonate. So, for 1 H plus, 1 bicarbonate is required. So, for 80 milliequivalent per day bicarbonate is required. So, this much bicarbonate is getting consumed. How much bicarbonate is getting consumed? 80 milliequivalent per day. So, is this a problem? Is this consumption of bicarbonate, is it problem? Let's try to find out. So, if we talk about ECF, extracellular fluid, here bicarbonate concentration, that is HCO3 minus concentration, is 24 milliequivalent per liter. That means 1 liter of ECF, it contains 24 milliequivalent of bicarbonate. And in average 70 kilogram male, there is total 15 liter of ECF. So, 15 liter of ECF, they contain how much bicarbonate? So, for that 15 into 24, and that makes total 360 milliequivalent. So, this 360 milliequivalent is the total bicarbonate content of our body. And out of this 360, how much bicarbonate is being consumed each day? It is 80 milliequivalent, right? So, out of this 360, 80 milliequivalent each day it is consumed. So, suppose on the end of day 1, this 80 is consumed. So, we are left only with the 280 milliequivalent of bicarbonate. At the end of day 2, more 80 will be lost, right? So, we are left with only 200. At the end of day 3, 80 more will be lost. So, we are left with only 120. At the end of day 4, 80 more will be lost. So, we are left only with the 40, and there is only half of this 5th day will run on this 40 milliequivalent of bicarbonate. So, if this bicarbonate consumption goes on and on, then what will happen? Within 5 days, all of the bicarbonate of our extracellular fluid will be lost, right? So, this is the problem. Now, here, this is the problem, and why this problem is occurring? It is because of this problem, that is net endogenous acid production. So, let's call this as a problem number 1A, and because of this problem number 1B is occurring, right? So, what could be the solution of this? So, solution of this problem is that our body needs to eliminate this acid. Our body needs to eliminate this acid. So, how our body will eliminate this acid? So, that work is taken up by the kidney in the form of H plus excretion by kidneys. And this second problem, it should also be addressed. As you see, on the tissue side, acid is produced and buffer is consumed. And now H plus is excreted by kidney. So, this buffer should be regenerated in the kidney, right? So, our body should regenerate this new bicarbonate. Our body should generate new bicarbonates. So, this both the solution in the linked way are provided by the kidney. So, let's write down this first important function of the kidney. The first important function of the kidney is H plus excretion and formation of new bicarbonate. Formation of new bicarbonate. Now, see, earlier the problems were linked. These both problems were linked, so their solutions are also linked. So, here I will write with, or you can also write as a and. So, H plus excretion and formation of new bicarbonate, both are coupled, both should be in the pair, right. Now, it seems that if kidney carry out this function well, then problem is solved. But no, wait, there is something more in the story. So, let us talk about the second aspect. Now, before discussing this aspect, I would like to point out that this problem is created by kidney itself and its solution is also provided by kidney itself. It is like Salman Khan's dialogue, that is marenge bhi hum or bachayenge bhi hum. So let's try to understand what is this problem. So to understand this, I will first draw the diagram of nephron. This is the Bowman's capsule and this is the tubular system. Here we have afferent arterioles, this is efferent arterioles, and in between these two there is a rich capillary network, right. So from the afferent arteriole blood enters, from the efferent arteriole blood leaves and it passes through this capillary. So when blood passes through this capillary network, there is a filtration process occurs. On this blood side, the bicarbonate concentration is 24 milliequivalent per liter. Now this bicarbonate, they are freely filtered through this membrane. So as they are freely filtered, here also bicarbonate concentration will be same as of the blood, that is 24 milliequivalent per liter. So in this immediate filtrate, bicarbonate concentration is same as that of the blood. What is the reason? Reason is that it is freely filtered. Okay. So that means in this immediate filtrate, 1 liter of this immediate filtrate, it contains 24 milliequivalent of bicarbonate. Now, what is the total liters of the filtrate that we receive at the end of day within a 24 hours? So it is estimated that approximately 180 liter of immediate filtrate comes into this space. So that means if 1 liter contains 24 milliequivalent of bicarbonate, what about 180 liter? So that will be 180 into 24 and we get an answer of 4320 milliequivalent. So in this space, every day within a 24 hour, 4320 milliequivalent of bicarbonate is coming at this place. Now this is the problem which is created by the kidney. Why? Because if this bicarbonate is excreted, then what will happen? Our body's total bicarbonate store is only 360, right? So within a couple of hours, all the bicarbonate will be lost, right? But this actually does not occur. Why? Because here kidney will help itself. That kidney, it reabsorb all of this filtered bicarbonate. So there is a reabsorption of bicarbonate. And how much bicarbonate is reabsorbed? It should be reabsorbed. It should be the same as this filtration load. This is the total filtration load of bicarbonate. And almost all of this bicarbonate, it must be reabsorbed. So that is 4320 milliequivalent per day bicarbonate should be reabsorbed, right? So here you can see that this problem is created over here by the kidney and its solution is also provided by the kidney. So let's write down the second important function of the kidney, that is reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate. Reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate. Now, if you compare both the function, this function 1 and function 2, which function is quantitatively more important task? See, if this function does not occur, then body will lose all the bicarbonate store within less than 5 days, within 4 to 5 days, right? And if this function does not occur properly, then what will happen? Body will lose all the bicarbonate store within approximately 2 hours. So of course, this task is quantitatively more important than this task, right? So let's write down the conclusion or the summary of whatever we had discussed so far. So kidneys regulate acid-base balance by two fundamental mechanisms, first and second. And on the first rank, we should write the quantitatively more important task, that is this one. So the first function becomes reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate. And the second function will be this one, that is excretion of H plus with formation of new bicarbonate. Now, one more thing in this, is that when H plus is being excreted, they are not excreted free, rather they are bound with some other substance, or in other words you can say that this H plus excretion is associated with buffering in the urine, right. So there are two important buffer mechanisms in the urine. In one form, H plus excretion occurs with the buffered with H2PO4 minus and other minor buffers. And equally important second buffer mechanism is NH4 plus ions. So H plus, it gets either excreted in the form of H2PO4 and other minor buffers or ammonium ion buffers, right. Now this H2PO4 minus and other minor buffers, they are also called as a titratable acids. Now why they are called as a titratable acid, that is a subject for next couple of videos. Okay, in the next couple of videos I will discuss about both the mechanism in detail. But before we discuss both the mechanism in the detail, one very important aspect is that to carry out both of this function, kidneys does a process of H plus secretion. See, to carry out both this function, kidneys needs to H plus secretion by tubules. Now what does it mean? It means if kidney wants to reabsorb the filtered bicarbonate, kidney has to secrete H plus. If kidney wants to excretion of H plus and formation of new bicarbonate, kidney has to secrete H plus. Now if you are wondering that this word excretion and word secretion both are confusing word, then let me clear these two words first. See, this is the nephron, right? So we know that this process, that this filtrate comes into this Bowman space, Bowman capsule, we call this process as a filtration. Now this is the tubular system. If from this tubular cells to this lumen, if something is transferred, we call this process as a secretion. If from this tubular lumen, if something is transferred back to the tubular cell, we call it as a reabsorption. And so after filtration, secretion, reabsorption, whatever is left, it will appear in the final urine that will be excreted out. So this process, it is known as excretion. Let's understand this little bit more with the example. Suppose there is a substance X. This is the hypothetical substance. This substance X, let's say it is 100 milliequivalent per day, it is filtered. So in this space, now we have 100 milliequivalent in per day, this substance X in this space. This substance X is also secreted, and let's say it is secreted 20 milliequivalent per day. So now this will be added with the 20 milliequivalent per day, right? So we are with 120 milliequivalent. Now let's say it is reabsorbed also. It is approximately 50 milliequivalent per day. It is reabsorbed. So 120 minus 50, that will be 70 milliequivalent. So now this 70 milliequivalent will be excreted. So here you must differentiate between secretion and excretion. So I can say that substance X, it is 100 per day, 100 milliequivalent filtrated, 20 milliequivalent secreted, 50 milliequivalent reabsorbed, and so 70 milliequivalent excreted, right? So now coming back to this point. So that if kidney wants to reabsorb the filtered bicarbonate, it has to do H plus secretion. What does it mean? It means that story starts with H plus secretion. Then there will be a couple of events which finally leads to this reabsorption of bicarbonate. To carry out this second function, that is excretion of H plus and formation of new bicarbonate, for this function also story starts with this H plus secretion. So story start with this H plus secretion in the tubule. It will follow certain sequence of events and it will end with carrying out this function, that is excretion of H plus and formation of new bicarbonate. So that's all for this video. In the next couple of videos, I will talk about mechanism of both the functions of the kidneys in acid-base balance. If you have any query or confusion, please write it down in the comment section below. Thank you.